Egypt has a new ceasefire hostage exchange proposal for Gaza. President el-Sisi's plan includes the release of 8 or 9 hostages. One would include an American, and then a 40 to 70-day ceasefire with no Israeli airstrikes. So do you think Israel and Hamas will agree to that? Tell us more about that one.
Egypt is kind of trying to thread the needle here, compromising, essentially offering up a compromise between the terms laid down by Hamas, which was fewer released hostages and a longer ceasefire, and what's been offered on the other side, well, not the other side, but by Steve Witkoff, the U.S. Special Envoy for Donald Trump for the Middle East, offering more hostages coming out. So this is kind of in between, and Egypt trying to play a role here. At the end of the day, Israel and Hamas, very, very difficult to agree upon anything. So I think at the end of the day, it's going to be up to the Trump administration here, whether they're going to not force a solution on Israel, not force a compromise on Israel, really put more of an emphasis on getting the hostages out rather than threatening Hamas with a consequence if they don't do so. So that may be a little bit of guidance there as to how they may approach some compromise that may or may not have been offered.
Finally, the Jerusalem Post reported a high-ranking envoy from Sudan flew to Israel, where he met recently with Prime Minister Netanyahu, and he discussed the Sudanese president's desire to normalize relations with Israel. So that would be huge, would it not? How true do you think that report is, and what have you heard? What do you think?
So I think some of us forget that it's the forgotten Abraham Accord. The Israeli government in Sudan actually signed a normalization agreement back in October of 2020. It got lost in the mix with everything going on with the United Arab Emirates and Bahrain and Morocco. But because of the situation in Sudan and because of the end of the first Trump administration, that deal kind of fell apart. It was on paper, but never really put into practice like the other Abraham Accords agreements were. And then, of course, we saw what happened in future years in Sudan and a horrible situation that continues there even to the present day here. It's always a positive sign that the Israeli government is conducting talks with neighbors, especially those that they still don't have some sort of formal normalized relationship with here. In terms of actually signing an agreement, again, with the situation in Sudan and so much uncertainty right now, I'm not sure if the time is right for that sort of broad agreement, because you need it to carry on to the next government. You needed to carry on in an economically viable way. But the very fact that they're talking, certainly better than no talks at all.
Okay, Mike Wagenheim, JNS correspondent. Thank you so much for joining us, Mike. We appreciate it.